Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of InTheRoots. Episode 3. Let's go. I am with a lifelong friend, someone who's been there through my whole life, done everything with me, experienced everything with me, and has meant a lot to me throughout my whole life. Someone I will always cherish, someone that will always be my friend, and that man is the Ronald Guerra.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Vice versa.
Yes, sir. Ronnie, I want to kick this off first and just talk about. First off, actually, I want to talk about this real quick. This podcast, this one is more centered around my life, and Ronnie is with me because he's been there through everything, and he's experienced everything with me and done everything with me, and he's someone I really wanted to just be on this to kind of explain the podcast a little bit. So this podcast is centered around career growth, just like career in general, lifestyle, and all things life. I just want it to be an open door to, anyone that wants to come on here or anyone that is on here, explain their path and their life and what they've been through and, kind of just all that. But I want to explain who I am as well. And episode 3, I'm probably a little late, but kind of want to just get on that. But I have Ronnie on here today because he's been here through it all with me, and just kind of wanted to get your input on things that we've done growing up and things, things. that built us to who we are today and where we are today. Because you have been there, honestly, since 4th grade when I met you. So,
indeed.
Do you have any memories, that we could just share just to, get an idea of?
It's not any, it's many memories.
It is many. It is many.
I don't know. There's a lot of things we can dive into. We can go to how we started becoming friends, which is a little hazy, but there's things that we can bring back in the past to kind of remember. I know our friend Zach kind of introduced us, and we just had I think our just common lingo and our general humor just kind of gravitated towards each other. And even without having that person there, it's just I think we would find each other. And even if it was in 4th grade, it'd just probably be in the future. It'd be rough because we never really had classes together, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and that is interesting. We actually never had classes together growing up. One of our friends, Zach, and we actually had a group. It wasn't really a group. It was just a friendship, and we called it ARZ, Andrew, Ronnie, Zach, which was kind of fitting for where we live. We live in Arizona, and ARZ, Arizona. Yeah, let's go. Gotta rep it.
It's kind of funny how just us thinking of that, we were like, wow, our names and initials for our group is the best because that's where we live at.
No, yeah, I mean, that's true. We did think that for a long time. We thought the world of that name, and it actually meant something to us, though. We thought we were, on top of the world almost. Just our friendship and the things that we did together and the, experiences we went through. Whether that was, just coming to my house and playing basketball, going in the pool, basketball camp, all those things. We did so much together, and it kind of grew us into who we are today in a sense. Even though, Zach is in Flagstaff now, and he just got married. Shout out Zach, right?
Congratulations. But Andrew, my big question is for you is, what is a favorite memory that stuck with you many, many years. Like something that you want to dive into, something that's like, wow, that's something I'm most charitable, most happiest. Peaking of our relationship, like we kind of give you the realization. It's like, wow, this guy is my best friend, not even friend, just like he's there. He's gonna be stuck along my side for a long time.
Uh, I mean, that's a great question, and I do appreciate first off Ronnie being on this and asking me questions too, because I do want this. I do want people to know who I am as well as knowing who other people are. But, I mean, man, there's so many memories. There are, like I couldn't even count the memories.
Definitely, but what's something that's like we have 1,000 memories, but what's like the top like 5 for you? Like not even top 5, just something that's just like really king to you. That's like, wow, no matter how old I'm gonna get, even from like from 4th grade to now, that's a long time. So what's something that you keep cherished to yourself for a long time?
I mean, yeah, that's a great question. I actually think one of the biggest things was, I mean, Ronnie and we met in 4th grade, 5th grade, and we became great friends, like insanely good friends. But I think something that really grew me and Ronnie together was, I went to Pennsylvania for a year, and during high school, Ronnie and I were friends. We were really good friends, and we would hang out. But we kind of grew apart, like, slightly. Ronnie had his friend group, I had mine. We didn't go to the same high school.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I was gonna say. We didn't go to the same high school.
No, yeah, and that was huge for it. But I think the thing that really, made us get to where we are now is the fact that I did go there, and I came back, and we kind of just picked up on things.
Every time picked up where we left off.
Yeah, we just picked up on it.
It could be like a day, a week, you know what I mean? Or just even like we went to a point where it's like we were semi-talking for like not even semi, just like barely talking back and forth, talking, like calling on each other, and it was like 2 months or something like that at one point from the summertime, because I was just having a grand old time and hanging out with my new friend group, and it wasn't anything against each other. It was just like, he had his life to live, I had my life to live, and I think we were just at the comfortability point where it's just like, we, even though we weren't on the talk-to-talk basis, we were just like, we had each other in the back of our minds, and it came down to, it's like, wow, we just pick up where we left off. He could be gone for 2 years, and we just talk about everything that just happened. And not even what happened within those 2 years. It would just be like, hey, you remember the day you left? This is what happened. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's pretty cool how not a lot of people can just pick up where they left off, or, like just like a relationship or in real life, it's just like, there's no hard feelings. We understand where we both come from. Our communication is always at all-time high. If he's upset, I'm upset. We just come to each other and be like, hey, this is what made us upset, and we just have a clear line of communication. That I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't have, and also it's just their forth actions that Andrew does for me or I do for him that kind of proves to each other that we always have each other in the side of the corner in the ring. And but yeah, definitely it was just like, which stinks. I wish we had more classes together, but I'm kind of also glad that we didn't have enough, don't have classes together, because I'm a rowdy guy. I was a rowdy kid. I was messing around in class, and especially if I have my best buddy in the class, I'll definitely get you in trouble. So it's like a bittersweetness where it's like, I wish I had you in my class, but I also I am happy that I didn't have you in my class, because it's like, wow, we would be 2 daredevils in one class messing around.
No, I mean, that's true. And I do definitely think, it was good for us that we weren't in the same class, because we could, in a sense, just have that separate time from each other, but at the same time we were also best friends. So it's like every weekend, you know, every day, like after school, whatever it was, we could go to each other, and we were just really good friends, and it didn't matter about class, and those things left behind us. We had a great time with each other, and that is the biggest thing. Just being able to be Ronnie's friend. And I feel like a lot of times it's like you build those friendships in class. Me and Ronnie were different. We didn't really have those classes together, and we built it outside. And even to this day, we're like insanely close, more than anyone.
Yeah, definitely. It's not like, like I used to be really kind of like teary-eyed at the end of the school year, because it's like school forced you to see the people again. So it's like that bittersweetness where it's like, oh, I'm not going to see him for 2 months, and then it's like, oh, next year I'm going to see him, and then after high school, you're not forced to see each other again. Everyone has their groups. People have each other, you know what I mean? And it's just like, well, since we grew our relationship outside of school, we didn't have to be forced to see each other. We wanted to see each other. But other than that, from high school and all, and how we first met, Andrew, what is your favorite activity when we used to hang out? What's something that's like king to you that's just like, wow, every time Ronnie comes over or Zach comes over, what is something that I am so eager to do?
Yeah, I mean, we live in Arizona, so we deal with the heat a lot here. So over summers, Zach and Ronnie would always come over, and Ronnie and I and Zach, we would always just go in the pool, and we have this routine that we did every single time. Every single time we got in the pool, Ronnie and I, we would skip. And I know it sounds really weird.
Yeah, but you understand, it was like you going from complete hot to complete cold. And then I was like, you know what? Me and Andrew have more of a big creativity of like, we make up things just to have like more enjoyment for the things that we did. It was just so stupid, but I was like, you know what, Andrew? Every time we get in the pool, we have to, and I mean, at the end of his pool, it's 12 feet. So we had to skip across the whole pool, and we'll be like 12 feet underwater. We have to touch the ground. And every single time we get in, it was something just completely made up. It was just something so funny because we were just like semi-drowning each other, just trying to do the stupid skips before we even played basketball in the pool because he had a hoop in there and all that stuff. But it's just so funny because it's like we create something out of nothing and have so much enjoyment. And I think that's where me and Andrew really cling to each other, because we just like make up things and we just die laughing on the ground and just enjoy every step of the moment where we're with each other. So, but yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, no, we did, and there was that, and we had so much fun in the pool too. We killed bees, and there were so many things we did, and that's like a key memory to me. It's just like something that we grew up doing together, and it was so fun. And other than that, though, to be honest, I had a basketball hoop in my backyard, and that was something.
2 basketball hoops.
I mean, yeah, I had one in my pool, and I had one in
the actual backyard.
The actual court. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a half court.
And that was something that was so fun for us. Every time I had, Zach and Ronnie over, we would do, 2-on-1, Zach and Ronnie versus me, and then we had other friends over, and it would be 2-on-2, and those 2-on-2s were even like just so much fun.
And then we had your brother's friends come over, and then we just do 1v1 championships, and that lasts like 2 hours.
So fun, dude. Those memories will like never leave my mind. I had so much fun doing that, and we also went to, basketball camps together, like over summers. I went to basketball camp almost every single week when I was growing up, and it was just so much fun, but it was so much better, like when I had Ronnie and Zach there with me, and we didn't get to do it a lot. It was probably once per summer, but it was something that was just so fun for us, and we,
Yeah, definitely. No, I know what you mean. And it's just one of those things that that we just showed up, and I was like, because I was never in a big basketball star, not even a star, just a big basketball player. And then Andrew kind of kinged me and led me into liking and loving more basketball each time I played with him. And it was just really fun because I just kind of stepped into the unknown and the comfortability that I had at showing up. It was just like such a fun time. And he showed me what it really is, and it's just like, it's not all serious. As a kid, when you have a younger mindset, it's like, I want to beat this person, beat that person. But at the end of the day, we just had fun. We had fun everything we were doing, and we just dominated the courts.
Ronnie, outside of, basketball and, my pool and things at my house, and I know that's where we spent most of our time growing up, do you have any other memories? I mean, we've gone to IHOP, and we've done so many things. Like we had so many key places growing up that
I think what really proved to me that I was like, you know what, this guy's gonna be my friend for a long time. Is when you moved to London because your dad had a job ship out there, and I was like, when Skype became really big, and I was like, wow. You'd be on Skype for like 3 or 4 hours, and the Skype actually introduced playing games on Skype with the other person. It was cool because we played checkers. Like, I don't even know like all the games we played, but honestly, I think we played checkers.
A quick side note to that: I went there 5th grade, the summer of 5th grade, after 5th grade, and going into 6th grade, and Ronnie and I, that's when we were became really good friends. So those Skype games and those things were very key to us. We had I feel like that is a very big part of what grew us as friends together. Just being able to, play those games and just talk to each other while I was away, even though the time difference was crazy too.
Yeah, and also I think give you an idea how many times we hanged out. So we used to go he had a Circle not a Circle K, a Safeway close to his house, and we rode bikes, scooters, and everything like that. Just give you an instance over the years.
Just for reference, I don't know if people in Pennsylvania know Safeway.
Oh yeah, Safeway is just it's just like a convenience store.
I went to Giant when I was in Pennsylvania, and that was their grocery store, or that was mine at least when I was there in the dorm rooms. And
Safeway is a pretty generalized place, though.
No, yeah, people probably know what it is. I'm not saying they don't, but they have different stores there, and it's weird.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is really weird that they have those things. Like, different places have different things, obviously, and but yeah, Safeway's our grocery store, and I'll let Ronnie continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're perfectly fine. I was just saying, just give you an instance. It was just like a little grocery store, and just we're like, you know what? We just want some snacks, and just give you an idea how many times we rode around the park to his house, to anywhere to meet up with anybody, because he lived close to our middle school, so we had a lot of kids from middle school that we knew that was hanging out with us, and I rode his scooter so much to a point where a metal bar over the years started bending because I put so much weight on it every single time and how long I rode a bike that the metal, the solid metal bar started doing a U shape, and I eventually, like the old saying, we rode it till the wheels fell off. His bike, his scooter, anything you can think of, his skateboard, anything you can think of riding, we have absolutely demolished. And it's not because we're reckless. It was just more in the sense of just how many times we rode everything. And I just thought it was super funny. But I'll just give you like an instance. Like I started shaping and warping his scooter because of how many times we rode it, and like just the aspect of how many days throughout the years that would take just leaning on it. That's a pretty long time, you know.
No, yeah, it definitely is. Ronnie, let's switch gears here. I know I kind of want to talk about, your life too, not just mine. And I mean, you when I went to Pennsylvania is when kind of you started your job after high school. Actually, let's talk about this. Let's talk about your high school experience. Because Ronnie does have he has an interesting path, and like everyone has their hardships too. And Ronnie had his fair share growing up, and that's something I really appreciate is that he perseveres throughout all of it.
Oh,
And
definitely.
he does make the best of every situation he has, and does his best to just keep pushing through it. And I kind of just want to talk about I had my high school experience. I graduated from Northwest Christian, and I will talk about that in a minute here, because Lancaster Bible College was a big decision for me. But I kind of want to just take a step back real quick, talk about yours, and then we can switch over to mine.
Well, give you a little aspect of what type of person I am. I was one of those kids that I'm also a very big guy. So when I was doing powerlifting, and so powerlifting is a weightlifting type of routine regiment in a sense. And when I started going out to freshman year of my high school, I was out, and once again, many different high schools are completely like population size. It's like usually like my mom went to a high school of 600 people, which is considered really a lot for a small town. Probably even less than that. Graduated with like 139 people in our class. In my school, we have over 3,000 people easily. We have about like 2,800 to 3,400 people, which is considered really a lot for most places. And it was just awesome. Like I walked in my freshman year of high school, I was one of the biggest kid. I was weighing about 265. Actually, when I first walked in my freshman year, I was weighing 235. And once again, not the most built guy, but I was in powerlifting. I beat all varsity football players, and talked about all the varsity players in weightlifting, and also my type of personality too. I was friends with anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter if you weren't in my friend group. Everyone knew me throughout my whole high school. My teachers always had a great relationship with me. Of course, I'm a really hard-headed guy, so some of my teachers did me and a couple teachers head-butted here and there. But at the end of the day, we still grew on our relationships, and I was always a kind of rowdy kid too, so I didn't hang out with the best of crowds, but I never did anything bad myself. I had a awesome relationship, just like with Andrew. I have my friend Jake. But like that's kind of the sense of thing. Like, but honestly, my main
Well, let's talk about your powerlifting though, because that was a really big part of your. I mean, and even me growing up, Ronnie. I always wanted to hang out. I wanted to do stuff with Ronnie, and I had basketball, and I had, the things I was doing. But Ronnie also did. I mean, he had his fair share of things he was doing as well.
yeah,
And
definitely.
outside of school, he was powerlifting all the time. And I kind of want to just talk about that real quick before we talk about me more.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. And then it was just like you had your basketball, and my biggest keen thing was my powerlifting, and I worked out 3 times a day. I would say 2 times easily, because once again, I had my freshman year when I first walked in, I had a varsity coach come up to me, and he's like, "I want you to join the football team." And unfortunately, I wasn't able to. Long story short, I have a blood disease. And that's the reason why I wasn't able to play some sports, because my dream was to become a football player. But, life directs us in different passions. And my biggest thing, I was like, you know what? My mom met my stepdad pretty much, and he has many bodybuilding and weightlifting records. He actually has a world record in Las Vegas for the heaviest squat for his age and weighted division. And so he pretty much swooped me under his wing and taught me everything he knew. And I, for being my age and the weight I was and how big I was, and I just excelled in weightlifting. And I used to work out 3 times a day, in the sense of, in the morning time, I used to do powerlifting in my class, and then second, I did my cardio and PE, because I actually took two activities, because that's something I enjoyed and I want to excel myself. And then after school at 5:30 every single day, an hour and a half of workout, no matter what. It was just straight powerlifting competition. It's just like, my peaking records were out. It's just kind of like, it's kind of weird, because you get like numb to it, because it's like, wow, 16 years old, like, this is what I can do. And a lot of people just not even near the weights I was doing. It's just kind of unfathomable, and I'm really blessed that I was able to push it that hard.
Yeah, and I mean, that's awesome. My question for you is, how did it feel not being able to participate in those sports? And, I mean, I know you really wanted to, and I know, there was a lot of things that held you back. And we could even talk about, basketball, 8th grade year.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever you want. It's more of a sense that, Ronnie was held back, and, had a lot of things that, he wanted to do, and his blood disease unfortunately held him back from those things. And that's a really tough thing. And
yeah, definitely. And I think it's just one of those things at the end of the day that everyone has a, not even a struggle, but a hurdle that they have to get over. And, and it's not only physically, it's also mentally. And that's why I wasn't even allowed to do powerlifting, because it could have been too hard on my joints. But, it's like, at the end of the day, no one can live inside a bubble, and you got to do something that you love and want to have many passion for. And I knew my passion was, wow, this kid can lift heavy. And I finally, over the years, I kind of recognized myself like, wow, the things that I can do now, not even my age, that some people I know can even come close to the weights I was doing. And like, I was over the 1,200 pound club for my squat, bench, and deadlift, which is unfathomable for being the age I was. And like, a lot of people can't, not even just like hit over 1,000 pounds. And 1,000 pounds is your total maxes. And I was hitting over 1,200 to 1,300 by my junior year easily. And there's a lot of adults now, but like, my biggest thing is I was playing football, and I got hit really hard one time, and then it caused me to have like a bruise in my hand and a nosebleed, and I ended up having my nosebleed for 8 hours. And some people can't even handle 30 minutes, and I had mine for over 8 hours. And that's not even my longest
let's
nosebleed.
actually talk about your blood disease, if you don't mind.
Yeah. What do you want to know about it?
I mean, you had a very, very severe blood disease, obviously. And you had one, and this is like when we kind of became friends too, after this. He had a blood disease for, I don't know, like 32 hours, 34 hours.
Yeah, my longest nosebleed straight was 36 hours. But that was my long consecutive nosebleed. But my longest on and off nosebleed was 6 months straight. And that's what it was a little hard, because it's like the appreciation for Andrew is that I had my nosebleed in 4th grade, and I almost got held back because I was in the hospital for a long time. Lost 50% of my whole blood.
Well, it was like the whole year almost.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely took the whole year to recover, because even I lost 50% of my whole blood. That's equivalent to somebody getting shot 5 times. And that's how they explained it to me, which is kind of crazy for explaining that something to a kid. But yeah, I lost 50% of my blood. So imagine half your body, all that blood, out of your body. So, and I was actually bleeding faster than they can do a blood transfusion. So a blood transfusion is where they give you from a blood bank, they try to put it back in your body so your heart and all that stuff can stable out. And I was actually bleeding faster than they could put in. And I had many, not many, but I've had a good amount of operations on my nose. The funny thing is they called me Michael Jackson when I was in middle school because how many nose surgeries I had. I had 4 to 5 nose cauterized surgeries. I've had a rhino, which is a cotton ball that goes to the tip of your nose to the back of your throat, and they inflate it. So yeah, there's just as a kid, that wasn't the best experience that I ever lived, but I did homework in the hospital, and that was how I was able to exceed and pass through 4th grade and be in the same age group that I was in.
Yeah. That's that's a lot. What's Ronnie? I have another question for you. If you're up for it. What's your dream? What do you want to do? And where do you envision yourself from now in like 5 years?
Honestly, it's at the end of the day, it's always a work in progress, and not trying to be like a boring guy, but I think I share a lot of dreams with most people, and I think that I think most people would love to live. What I think so that I would love to live is I don't have a sense of my passion was to do football, and it hasn't really gravitated towards away from it in a sense where it's like, wow, I really came to this. When I was younger, I wanted to be a scientist. I love mixing chemicals. Like, I was just in a bathroom just messing around, just like, oh, what do you do with this if this mixes up? You know what I mean? But that's besides the point. Like, in the sense of where my general mentality and ideas right now come from is it's just more I want to have something stable, a job that I can have a respect to it, not only for telling people about what my job is, but also I want to have self-respect for the job. Because it's like I have had jobs in the past and they're not bad, it's just something that I don't want to be able to represent myself. And I am very big, you know me, I'm very big into quotes. And some jobs are meant to be there. They don't represent yourself. They just represent what you can become in the future and to have growth in. It's just something to get you by. And not only sense get you by, it's just like, I'm more proud of this person working. It doesn't matter if they're a janitor making, $30,000 a year, or a teacher making $30,000 a year, or a millionaire. You know what? You're hardworking. You're getting stuff done. But to get back to your questions, it's something that I really cling to is I want something that's more of I want stability. I want something that, like, the things that we experience and cherish together, it's going to cost money, you know what I mean? So it's like, I want to have my toys. I want to have an ATV, an RV. I want to have a boat, you know what I mean? But, all those things take maintenance, time, love, storage, you know what I mean? So it's just ultimately I don't have something I'm keying to, but I really want something that can fulfill those dreams, because that's what makes me the happiest and makes a lot less stress and a lot more living through life.
Yeah, no, I get that. There is, trial and error in life, and there are things that work out and things that don't. And I, and I'm the same way, eventually, the goal is to, I guess, make this podcast something that means something to people, something that, people will look at and be like, this is something I want to listen to, and something I want it to, I guess I personally want it to be, as far as, there are so many podcasts out there that people listen to every day.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone has a reason why they want to. I even listen to some podcasts. It could be just enjoyment, learning, having an understanding. And for me, it's just like I like some of the podcasts that give you a little bit of the best of both worlds. It's not only someone talking, but they also, I think what kind of can king to people a lot is having those experience, and they can relate it to themselves. They're like, oh wow, I'm in that experience. Maybe this person made this decision and they talked about this and did this, and this is their outcome. maybe if I do the same thing or even something in my own idea that I can apply it to myself, that's the outcome they want to live. And I think that's something big for people. Is just like, oh, not only that, and also it's like I think it's comedy and all that stuff is a really big thing too. Everyone wants to not only just listen about the heartaches and we have a lot of problems throughout the world 24/7. That's always going to be forever thing, but and I hope one day it doesn't be like that. But that's why a lot of people came to comedy. You know what I mean? It could be dry humor, funny, dark humor, and all that stuff. But it's just like I think it comes down to it's just like I think Andrew, you can offer a bit of everything, and I think that's where it's going to draw in a big number of crowds because it's like you can talk about experience, in-depth relationships, work. You have a vast connections and a community, a community around you that can offer you a lot, and I think that's where a lot of people will have a huge amount of appreciation for.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. There's so many things you can do in life, and that's what I want this podcast to be. I want people to know, that no matter where you are in life, you can get somewhere. And and that's what I hope people get from this. It's like even though your dream with football and powerlifting and all that were almost halted by a blood disease, I don't want everyone to think it just ends there, because I genuinely do think that you could still do that. And
Oh, most definitely. And, like, it's just like one of those things. You have hurdles to go through. I have hurdles to go through. Everyone in life doesn't get unscathed from having problems. It could be mentally and physically. And I think it's just one of those things that, just, and I'm, like I said, Andrew, earlier, I'm a big quote guy. So it's just like, everyone's going to get knocked down, but really, really, truly make somebody is how many times you're going to get back up, because you're going to forever get knocked down, but right when you stay down, you're always going to be down. So it's just one of those things that everyone has a need to have I think the biggest thing is everyone needs to have a release point. And that's either talking, doing activities, lifting. That's a lot of why a lot of people do lift, is because it's like it's one of those things to express yourself and to have a release point from life, because it's just like everything's so stressful nowadays, and it's just one of those things that no one's going to get unscathed from that. It just takes time to really learn. And when we're younger, like your basketball was, how I see it, your basketball was one of those things that it's like you were you. You didn't have no care in the world. All you're focusing on is like, how can I be better at these moves? Not how good I need to be at school. It's more, which you're great in school, but I'm just saying in the sense of just like, I want to be the best basketball player at that time in your age, and you like had no care in the world. Like, how can we make this fun? You needed to know when you needed to be serious and all that stuff. So it's just like, I think that was one of your biggest release points that I saw when I was growing up. I'm not trying to speak for you, but I just like more of a cute observation.
no, it definitely was. And that was a huge release point for me, just being able to go out there and just play. But there's also an aspect of it too that it's like, and a lot of people can't relate to this, but I did go to a Christian high school, and even going there and just like the Bible verse, like tests and all that were so big to me. Just going to that school in general was huge to me. Just being able to, like I felt like I didn't have that, public school experience except for like 2 months. And I got to, go there, and I got to every day consistently hear the truth about, the Word of God, and just where to go from there, as well as, just being able to play basketball. And I feel like there's so much to that. that, so many athletes can speak to. It's just building a community and being able to be at a school like that and grow at a school like that a lot of people can't talk about. And I know you specifically can't because you went to Sandra Day O'Connor and I went
A
to
big
North
school.
Yeah. I went to a smaller school, which was awesome, and
Yeah, everything has its pros and cons, and you had a smaller school. You still, in general, it's, even though it was a small school, it's still bigger than compared to most schools. But once again, we live in the city, so everything we kind of do is a little bit bigger, and we're also really populated. So, but yeah, even having a school of 3,000 kids is just like an experience that I saw every single day. It's like I've met a new person, clashing with different, age classes where there's sophomore, juniors, seniors, and all that stuff. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy that we went to high schools but had completely different experience, and just dealing with the general public of my school. It's just everyone was crazy, rowdy, and having fun. And but we also had the general basis of we have the good and bad from everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And it was definitely different. But Ronnie, I want to close with this. I do wish I had almost a little bit more time to talk about things in my life, but I am very thankful that we got to talk about, like the powerlifting and the experiences in yours. What advice would you give to, someone either high school or, college, struggling to make it through it? What advice would you give them to, keep going and power through? And yeah, I think that's it. Just like keep going.
I think that my biggest thing that I was taught younger is everyone is gonna come to a point of struggle. And what I've learned is some people have a hard beginning and have a bliss middle and end. People have an easy beginning from some people that are outside the box, because everyone doesn't know everything about each other's life. And that's where it's like hard, because sometimes you see social media or people just hyping themselves up, because some people have it better than others. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's something, but the biggest thing, like I was saying, is people might have it hard in the beginning, easy middle and end. Some people might have a easy beginning, have a hard middle, and have a great ending. Some people might have a easy middle beginning and then have a hard end. So it's just one of those things that everyone, whatever struggles that you're going through, time is the best thing that heals it. And once again, sometimes you're in a rut for 10 years, sometimes you're in a rut for 6 months, a week, and you know what I mean? And it's just everything that comes to will pass. And that's something that's like, that's just something that was big for me to learn. And it's another thing that I also learned is like, when you are going through that struggle, you always like, like, God, I pray that you can help me through the struggle and all that stuff. And once again, he can easily answer and give you what you want. But at the same time, it's just imagine what, say, for instance, it's like, I want to be out of this situation. And imagine you say, like, okay, I want to be in this situation, this point, and this time. Imagine if you got it. Doesn't mean you won't have a different mindset. Even when you get to that position, that time, and what you always wanted, I guarantee something in you is also going to be like, well, now I want to be in this position and what I want. And it's like, there's always something we always crave for and always want to work for. And just like come to the more of a common sense of just like, we always want to be something somewhere in that point in time. And sometimes we get to that point and we will always forever crave more. So I think it's just one of those things that don't get discouraged. Have a huge communication, have a release point, and ultimately just having someone in your corner is what really can succeed and elevate you into new parts of your life, and have a good surrounding of people around you that will do anything and everything for you.
Yeah, and that is what Ronnie has done for me. And I'm really glad he got to come on here and just like even give a piece of his mind, because there is a lot of things that he's done for me. And just growing up, it's been such a pleasure just being able to see him grow and me grow personally. I think we've both come a long way, and there is a lot more to come. We're both young people.
Oh, it's definitely. I still got a lot of quotes in this noggin.
And you'll probably be on the podcast again.
But once again, I wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate it. And I'm happy that I can share some experience and some knowledge and have a fantastic conversation with you. And the love is all there. And I like I said, this love and compassion that me and you and relationship and me and you both have will be a forever thing. And I'm happy to see where we're at in the next 10 years and even longer.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everyone who's listening or watching. Thank you for watching InTheRoots. I am your host, Andrew Augustine, and I want to thank Ronnie Guerra for being on here, because it has been a pleasure, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot more to come. So
definitely. Thank you so much for having me. You guys have a fantastic day or night or wherever you're from. But I appreciate you taking your time listening, and just like in awe that we just touched one person. That is a blessing in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for watching InTheRoots with Andy. I am your host, Andrew Augustine, and we will see you next time.
Have a good day.